OGPOV Iceman review. First things first, this is going way too far. This is out of control. This is just music at the end of the day. This is music. We should not be looking to Drake or Kendrick Lamar to be Martin Luther King and save the world. If they make an attempt to, great, you know what I mean? But I feel like the music is enough. Take what you want, what you need from the music and move on. You know, when I listen to Iceman, from the first song on, I love what I hear. Simply because I love to see Drake talking his shit, you know what I mean? I love to see him, you know, refusing to be bullied. You know, people just want to bully people, you know what I mean? I'm always anti-bully. So that is just, that kills me, that people just expect Drake to just be this super square, you know what I mean? And he doesn't help it because he started off as a super square, right? We can go back to photos of Drake, you know, 2008, 2009 and on, and we saw the evolution of Drake. But people still want him to be Wheelchair Jimmy, you know what I mean? People assume that he's from the soft place in Canada, which he probably is, from an affluent area in Canada. But Canada has hoods, Canada has gangs, Drake has friends, you know, currently has status and stature, and he's moving like so. He like such, you know what I mean? He talking his shit, you know? So that's one thing I love about the Iceman album, is that he responded to all Kendrick's bars, you know, line for line, he's responding to stuff. He responded to Rick Ross, to A$AP Rocky. He had bars for DeMar DeRozan. He had bars for DJ Khaled, Jay-Z. You know, nobody was safe. And I fuck with that. You know what I mean? This is his opportunity to respond to, you know, Kendrick's momentum, and you know, even taking a step back from the music. The album rollout was legendary. You know what I mean? He took it to another level with his, you know, a couple different tactics that he had. He's including the streamers into his rollout. He had academics. I think he flew a bunch of streamers up to Toronto. So Drake's doing a lot here to make sure that his presence is felt. But when you get to the music, I didn't listen to the other two albums, but I did listen to Iceman over and over. I've listened to it at least once or twice daily since it's dropped. I think that the battle bars are great. I love hearing where 40 took their sound. While it was still similar, you know what I mean? They switched the beat in the middle of the song. We've seen that before. You know, the heavy samples in the beginning of the songs. We heard that before, and I actually spoke out on that before. Like, I hope they switch it up. I hope they just do something different. So I can imagine that's how the other two albums ring off, but this one was just classic Drake. Everybody knows me. I was heavy Meek Mill when it came to the Meek Mill Drake beef, but I learned something about Drake and just his presence. You know, people don't care. You know, you can keep that hip hop pure as shit when you come to Drake. Like, all people want to do is hear jams, hear the bops. You know what I mean? He has some couple joints on there, clever, witty deliveries. I felt as though his rapping ability, it was just top notch, if you ask me. You know what I mean? He had some simple bars in there. I saw some memes floating around about, you know, how simple his bars were, or how weak the bars were. But he's not the only rapper that, you know, dumbs it down sometimes. You know what I mean? Slows the flow down. Thought he was rapping really well. I felt like he addressed everybody, like I said before. They pushed the sound a little bit, but my main thing with Iceman, I'm gonna keep this short, right? I'm gonna give the album a 2.5 out of 4 OGPOV rating, and I'm gonna tell you why I took 1.5 points off. I took a half point off because I didn't get long-lasting vibes on Iceman. You know, that's what it came down to for me. I'm not gonna be listening to this album in 5 years. I won't. You know, I don't give a fuck what's on there. The music is not that good. You know, I saw Rick Ross on somebody's podcast where he said that he was expecting Michael Jackson. You know, Drake talks about Michael Jackson and Prince and, you know, all these legendary, you know, acts, compares himself to Mike. But it's like, where's the Michael Jackson music, bro? That's what it comes down to. Where's the Michael Jackson music? This is not that, you know what I mean? So I can't say it's a classic album. Good album, you know. I'll spin it just to be able to talk about it, I guess. It's not really bars for me, I guess. I didn't really resonate with the album so much. Maybe I gotta get my bread up, you know, that's a fact. But I took a half point off because the music's just not long lasting. And I took another whole point off because, actually no, I'm gonna take another half point off. So I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 4. It's not a 2.5. 2.5 is crazy, but I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 4. So I'm gonna take another half off of the album simply because I don't know if it's a rap album. I saw somebody post something that said, is Iceman considered hip hop? You know, no, it's not. You know what I mean? So it's not hip hop. It's its own thing. You know what I mean? It's in its own genre, you know? So that alone, I just took a half point off because it's like, you don't fall into any category. You know what I mean? Where can you really play this album? You know what I mean? Like, is it going to be in a club? I don't know. I'm never in a club. Is this a car album? I gotta spin it in a car maybe. Like, where would you listen to this? I feel like it just doesn't have a place in the music sphere. You know, this album benefited Drake. You know, he got out of his deal. He addressed his you know, his ops, you know, but outside of that, we didn't really get much. This album didn't help me grow. It didn't challenge the sound. So, you know, while I will admit those sounds and what I'm looking for or expecting, they may be on the other albums. You know what I mean? That's not a diss to Drake, but I couldn't give it a 3.5. Like 3.5, that's crazy. We can't do that. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 4 though. Iceman review, OGPOV Iceman review. Go check that album out if you haven't yet. But again, I'm gonna close it with this. It's just music, bro. It's just music, bro. It's just music. That's it. Just music. You know, these are not the Muhammad Ali's of our time. And that's cool too. We'll figure it out though. Stay locked into all things OGPOV, where we kicking game from an OG point of view. Usually I sell it, but I got enough to share it with you. Share it with somebody else if you get the chance.